Hey, so I got this new aquaponic system up and running about, I don't know, a week or two ago, and it just hit me that I've never actually really shared it with anyone after it actually started running. I've been kind of, somewhat logging it as I went along, but it's a full-fledged, full circulatory system at this point, and I just thought I'd take a few minutes to kind of just share it because, in all honesty, I'm in love with it. It's kind of a non-conventional aquaponic system, but it's 100% designed by me. It's nothing special. I had an idea one day and ran with it, regardless of the lack of blueprints or anything, but I was really happy with how it came out. I over-engineered it, obviously, well, not obviously, but I wanted to be able to scale this up, so I was doing a more sturdy design than I needed to, so I guess what I'll start with is the grow bed side of it. So you'll see inside here I have a bunch of red mangrove, growing in aquaponic clay grow pellets, ceramic grow pellets some people call them, but they're doing fantastic. So essentially what will happen, and you can actually see it happening on some of them, so the ones that you're seeing now are probably about a month into growth. And so like when they first start, let me find a smaller one. So something like this is what they'll kind of look like. I don't know if the camera can pull up the detail on it, but you'll start to see, see that one doesn't have it yet. It just looks smooth, but I know this one's still alive because it's got that nice, rich lime green color, that ring around the base of it. It hasn't shriveled up. Like the one right next to it, actually, there's one over here that I realize might be unfortunately lost. I think it's this one right here. Notice how its color is kind of weak. Get the focus there. I don't know, it might still be alive. These type really can surprise you later on, the smaller ones. I'll show you an example. Like there's one over here that I thought might have been dead, and then all of a sudden, I think it was this guy here, he just started breaking open. So you never know. But anyways, so what will happen is it'll start off, there's a little cap on the top of these things, like a nut that these grow out of, and so the nut's on top, like surrounds this thing, and this plant grows down off of it like a banana. And then what happens is that when you cut it from the tree, if you pluck off that top nut, I wish I had one here to show you, but unfortunately they don't last very long, so they've all since gone, but this will be what's left underneath. Stapling, I wish I could remember the name of this part of it. So that will be the first signs of it. Then what happens is, funny enough, up here I have some just kind of growing in jars, but let's see, which one was it? I know this one has a good root system. So if you grab this, you'll see that as they sit in water, they start to spawn out roots like a potato. So this up here was just me kind of proving that they don't need a big sophisticated system. Just putting them in a jar is enough with some aquarium water. So that proved it. With some good lighting, aquarium water, and a jar, you can get these guys to root out. But anyways, so that's what will happen. The roots will develop. And then once the roots have developed, you'll start to see, let me find an example here. Because all of these are a little bit further along. Let's see. There's so many that are far along. I'm sorry, I'm looking outside of the camera. So maybe this is the best example I can see. Where is it? Right here. Okay. So if you look at it, what you'll see, it's trying to focus on everything but what I want. At the top of it, show me. Let's see if I can find a focus angle here. Come on, camera, work with me. We'll just have to pretend. But what happens is that little stipulia, I think it's called, something like that, will start developing a seam down the center of it, and it starts to split open. And that's what you're seeing on some of these further along ones, like right here. Come on, camera, focus. So that one's already split, and you see the new layer coming out in the middle. This one's long split. But like all of these, that's the problem, is that I'm a little bit further along, so it's hard for me to show because all these have already done it. But so when you see it like nice and fat like that, to where you can kind of see how there's a separation, there's like a line right here, and then this coming out, that's actually going to form into two pairs of leaves, and this up here is going to be the next stippling. Because what happens is they kind of like, you can see it right here, this one's spiraling out. So the upper parts will unravel into two sets of leaves, and the bottom, and then in the middle will be a new stippling. And just to show you what I'm talking about, There's some down here that I've already done this. So what will happen is, like, yeah, you can see it like right here. So the 2 leaves will unravel, and in the middle will be the new stippling. And so they just keep doing that. That will grow up, thicken, and then turn into 2 new leaves, grow up, thicken, turn into... So, like, that was the first instance of it. This was the protection coat. They dry out, and then the next layer does it. They just keep doing that over and over and over. You'll notice they always grow in pairs. So 2, 2, 2, 2. So these are way further along. These are like probably 4 or 5 months long. These came from my first batch. I flew them down from Florida when I was on vacation, and I was growing them in their natural Florida mud. And this is what I was trying to avoid. Is this cost me a lot of money. Mud's not cheap to ship because it's super heavy, it's wet. And I didn't want to let it die because I thought the microbials might be important. So I shipped a bunch of this up, got these growing, and then the inevitable question hit me is, do I need to do this? Or can they grow in something way more readily available and cheap to attain? So I got some of these aquaponic pellets to grow, and as you can see, they don't care. So they're doing fantastic. So basically, the way the system works is we've got a sump down over here, a insanely tiny one, so I'm going to upgrade this. I have a million sumps. That's a sump. There's some down here, tanks galore, but I try to start with a small one just because I had it easily accessible, but I'm going to have to upgrade it because it goes through water changes like every 2 days, but I digress. So what happens is this pump right here fills up. There's a manifold right here. There's 4 outlets on it. So one goes to the tank, one goes to the aquarium, one goes to the grow bed, one is recycling, so it just keeps circling and circling and helps filter out the water, any physical waste from the fish. And then there's an extra one in case I ever want to expand this for some reason, add another grow bed or something like that. So there's 2 different tracks. So we'll start the grow bed one first. The water goes up this line, comes out the manifold, goes over this drain line here, and then it fills up this grow bed, but the media is deep enough to where the water line is actually about 1 inch underneath the media. This helps, 1, with evaporation, and 2, with mold and funguses and things that would grow at the base of the plants, because these upper pellets are dry. It's what's below that's full of water. And you can tell that by if you come over and look at its drain line. So, oop, I just poked one. I always am afraid I'm going to break off one of these things, but they're durable. So what's happening is the water level fills up, and then it hits those drain lines there, and you'll notice there's a 2-inch buffer between those holes where the water comes through and then the upper ring that holds back the pellets. So the water line's actually about 2 inches deeper than the gravel is. So that helps keep that going. And the water drains down into that hole there. And then I know there's a lot of camera movement here, so bear with me. Hits that drain line there, runs along the bottom of it, and then I can definitely improve this because it just kind of free hovers over there. I'm going to put some supports there, but dumps back into the sump. So that's one circuit that's going on. And at the same time, that pump fills up, overflows up, or not overflows, but pumps out into this bar, up and over, and then goes into this aquarium. This aquarium happens to house a golden Midas cichlid of mine. He is beyond skittish of people. I've always worked with him, but he's a very angry fish. And I love the guy. He's not a bad guy. Come here, buddy. He's got a personality, but he definitely trusts me about as much as, well, he just doesn't. So, anyways, but that fish right there, out of every fish I've ever owned, produces more waste than anything I could imagine. I'm pretty sure he breaks the laws of conservation and he poops more than he consumes, but I digress. He is the perfect candidate for this because what's happening is he poops, that poop dissolves in the water and becomes ammonia. That ammonia gets broken down by bacterias in the lava rock down there, which over time gets turned into nitrites and then nitrates, and then nitrates are what get pumped over to here, which is what you use as fertilizer for plants. So this whole entire system, he is feeding these plants. And then these plants are cleaning his water so that they symbiotically love each other. So it's a new system. I'd say it's been running for about 4 or 5 days now. I still have a lot of, water testing to do, see what the consumption rate of the nitrates are. I don't think it's going to be net neutral. He'll definitely need water changes because he is a beast of a waste producer. I would say in a 75-gallon tank, leaving this fish alone in a 48-hour window, he will get the nitrates up to 60 parts per million. It's just absurd. So yeah, he's a perfect food source for these guys. But yeah, this was none of this was really planned. I, as you saw behind me a minute ago, just have a lot of extra aquarium equipment I'm constantly setting up and breaking down for the fish room. And I just kind of, mangroves are a passion of mine. I absolutely love this plant. I find it to be the Christopher Columbus of the plant world. It pioneers the world. It is continent builders. They are beautiful. They're all around the world in every hemisphere and every weather condition you can think of. And I adore their versatility. So that's why I grow them, is just out of a love, nothing more. And then I just wanted to. I was water changing them physically, constantly pouring out water from tanks into them, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. And I wanted to give a more permanent, consistent home, so that's what spawned all this. I already owned this 40-gallon drill that just sat in this rack, that stack over there that I showed a few minutes ago. The sump I've owned forever, and it was just undersized for any other project. This I built custom for the project, but I just kind of wanted to play around with grow bed designs, and that's what led to this. And collectively, all my just random ideas became a functional system. So I'm super happy about it. One of the things I plan on doing moving forward is doing daily ammonia, nitrates, and nitrites tests, just to see what are the balances of the system. How much is he producing? How much does it consume? Is it possible that these trees will be nitrate neutral? I question it. I don't think so, because mangrove trees are notoriously low nutrient consumers. They live in sand and boggy swamp water, so they don't get a lot of nutrients. They live on very little. So I'd be surprised if they're capable of pulling out enough. But at the same time, there's like 100 of them in here. So, it's anyone's guess, and only, research will tell. So I'm going to do what I can to prove it, but I just wanted to share this with you guys. There's still so much to be done. I need to improve electrical. I want to put a permanent lighting rig for him. I don't even have the good lighting rigs for them yet. I just got enough to keep them alive while I build all this. That all needs to be done. There's so much, but it hit a point where it's running. Everybody's happy. The plants are growing. The fish has never looked happier, even though he's never happy. So I just thought I'd share. But thanks for watching. Have a great night.